Walter, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. After watching that documentary, Arcades and Love Songs, The Ballad of Walter Day, I can't tell you how much of a joy it is to spend a few minutes with you and chat with you.
I'm honored. Thank you, Manny.
So, this has been a passion of yours now for a long time. What does it mean to you to have your performance now be captured on a documentary and to be featured now? We're going to see it on a big screen in Los Angeles and beyond.
Well, I hope the people who are watching this can come to our big premiere because we're going to be at the I think it's called TCL Chinese Theater now, and in just a few days actually on April 17th. And so it's going to be very interesting for me because it's going to probably be a big audience, and I'm amazed that people care about this story because I'm so close to this. I'm so emotionally attached to it that it's all almost surrealistic and almost like very challenging to accept the idea that the story that is my story would be something that other people could just embrace and relate to and maybe find some wisdom in it or some joy in it or something like that. So it's an immense emotional undertaking for me to go through to come to this point of accepting the fact that my story is a story that is of interest to other people.
It is a great story. I loved watching it, and as my wife also woke up when I was watching it, she was very intrigued by what was happening and why you were going on this journey. And I was like, well, sit down and watch the documentary with me because it's great. We're learning about this amazing person because it's really inspirational. What does it mean to you to be able to pick up singing again? What has that been like for you?
Well, here's here's how the whole process happened. In 1985, at the height of video games, um, I had a glamorous girlfriend who one night called me up and said, Walter, I secretly have been seeing a friend of yours and I wanted to be free to be with him. Well, she did go on to marry him and have a child and everything like that. But I was heartbroken. And a couple weeks into that heartbreak, I started hearing music come up, like out of my chest, out of my stomach, out of my head. It was original songs with hooks and melodies and lyrics and harmonics and stuff like that. And I was completely transfixed by it. And I thought, my God, this stuff is beautiful. And I started writing it down in notebooks and I started singing on the tape recorders. And by the time the process was through, 138 songs had come out. I'd completely fallen in love with them and was transfixed by it. And I vow that even though I wasn't a singer and never had any intentions or plans on being a singer, I vowed that I was going to someday get up on the stage and perform and sing these songs for the public and have other people hear how beautiful this music was I was hearing. So 20 years after that, The King of Kong was suddenly produced. And in the filming of The King of Kong, I would tell the producers how it's my goal and desire to retire from video games and actually play and sing and perform my music and bring it to life. And so they were intrigued by that, and they actually filmed me singing some of my songs in The King of Kong. And they said afterwards that of all the people in The King of Kong, they were the most intrigued by my life story of all the people in the movie. And so 20 years after The King of Kong, I was at an event with Billy Mitchell in Pomona, California, and some people, a guy named David Reichelt came out of the crowd, and he had created a very successful mobile game called Color Switch. So he had a lot of wealth as a result of the success. And he asked me about whatever happened to that music, Walter. And I said, it's still my dream to bring to life. I haven't given up, but who knows what's going to happen because I'm getting older. And he said, and he decided on the spot that he was going to use his wealth to actually pay for the production of my album, a 10-song CD, and that and that he would do it as a gift with no strings attached. So suddenly I find myself in a music studio actually recording and singing and producing the music. Meanwhile, the producers of The King of Kong learned that this was happening, that after 20 years later, I actually was producing the album, and they decided, oh my God, what a great story. We have to do this story and make it into a movie about a man in the 70s who never gave up his dream, always believed in his vision, and proved that it's never too late.
What was it like what was your emotions like before performing your first song at your performance?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, to get ready for it, I had to sing each one of those songs 8 times in a row every day. So it's like 24 songs I'd sing, 3 songs, 28 times, because they had to get ready because I was trying to strengthen my voice as much as possible because it's amazing how aerobic and how athletic you have to be to actually really sing. There's a lot of strengthening that you have to go through. So I had to practice a lot, but also because I was so afraid that I was going to get up there and space out and forget the lyrics and not be able to sing the songs. So that was my biggest fear. So when I got on the stage, I had just bragged right before I got on the stage that I'm not nervous because I've been in front of people many times and public performances don't make me nervous. But when I got up on the stage, I was so out of my element, so in like deep water that it was completely not my comfort zone. And I suddenly started getting nervous. And so it was completely surrealistic and unreal to be in front of the people doing what was not my normal comfort zone, as I said, singing in public to not only old friends, but the strangers. So I managed to remember all my lyrics. I didn't forget anything. I did perfect. And it was interesting that by the time I sang one of the songs the second time as an encore, my voice actually had improved and was relaxed and sweeter. And someone in the audience even pointed out that my singing had become better. So it was a very interesting experience that um, it was an amazing experience.
Have you performed at all since then? Have you had other shows?
No, not at all, not at all. I I I've been very remiss. I've been practicing singing so that to get the voice as good as possible because there is the intention to do more performances and do at least a version of a mini tour. I don't know if I could do a real tour, which involves lots of hotel rooms and traveling and air flights, because I think that'd be kind of like hard on the health because I'm 75 years old now, and I just don't want to, you know, end my life short by just draining my health with lots and lots of traveling and restaurant food and stuff like that. I do have the strong desire to do more albums and have 20 or 30 more of my songs brought to life so they can share them with the world too.
Well, it's all possible now, especially with the media the way it is. You and I are talking via Zoom. You don't have to travel as much, luckily, but hopefully with the film, we get to see you to perform a couple of times. Maybe if you come over to the West Coast, into California, I can go ahead and check it out because I am a fan.
Well, that's very possible that it could happen. And thank you for being a fan. I I'm still marveling over this, how there's such warm-hearted receptiveness for this film because as I've said, it's almost like a hallucination that my story would have such a warm response from people
I'll be honest,
because it's the whole idea is that it's inspiring.
yeah, and I'll be honest with you,
I'm sorry.
I cover indie films for stories like yours, because every blockbuster can give me kind of, your scripted story, but a Walter Day story is unique, it's heartfelt, and it's something that I feel like we all need in media.
When we played the show a few weeks ago at the Long Beach Art Theater, um, after the film was shown, the manager of the theater came to the producer, Ed Cunningham, and said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you for making a positive film about good people." And so that really is like that's like the mantra of the moment. It's just the spiritual essence of the whole thing. That that there's a lot of positivity out there, and a lot of unheralded people who have a great story to tell, but they just have to believe in themselves and just focus on achieving what they want to achieve, and just realize that, like I said, it's never too late.
Yeah, it's definitely the message, and it's why I love it. Have you had a chance to? Well, you've had a chance to watch the documentary. What is it like to watch you go through that journey again?
Well, it's interesting because um, when the movie was first made and the first iteration was created, I thought it was a dull, boring story. And so I was not expecting it to have any legs or anybody to like it, that it would be boring. And but as they re-edited it so that they could take the important themes and plot lines in the film and have them work together properly. When I saw it in Long Beach a couple of weeks ago, it was the first time I'd seen the finished iteration, and I was immensely surprised. I was genuinely surprised that, wow, this actually is a fun, emotionally engrossing story that actually has some merit to it, and I'm very pleased. But still, at that point in time, I didn't have any expectation that it would be so well received by the public. I just thought that I was enjoying it and thinking it was wonderful. So it's an interesting process to see. It's 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 a very I find myself very vulnerable though because I feel so exposed. Just to be honest, you're so exposed, and when you're this exposed and you're not covering up who you are, you don't know how the rest of the world's going to take it and how you're going to be treated. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. Because this is your coming out with this performance that we see in the documentary. So now to be able to see it at the Chinese theater in front of so many audiences and different festivals, I can imagine, yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's a very marvelous thing, but it's almost like it's almost like there's some destiny to the film. And because I don't think a lot of films, not every film gets to show at the Chinese theater, so it has almost like it has a some sort of stroke of divine life support behind it that's putting it there in the public eye in such a nice way. So I'm very appreciative of the fact that it has a good opportunity to get the message of the movie out to a lot of people.
Yeah, you're talking about some of Hollywood's elites that have opened their films, premiered their films at the Chinese theater. Now, your film, your story, LA premiere is happening there as well. So I couldn't be more excited about it. I'm happy for you. Walter, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your story, and I look forward to hearing more music from you.
Well, thank you, Manny, and I look forward to playing more music for you too.
Take care. It was so lovely to meet you.